Well, good morning, everyone. I'm David Paul. I'm the Managing Director of VectorVest, and I want to try and talk about initially the market timing of both the UK and US markets. And unfortunately, it's not looking good. And certainly in the last hour in the US yesterday, it took a major turn for the worse. So if we look at the UK market, and I've taken the part of the front page of VectorVest, which summarizes market timing and just blown it up so it's easy to see. So in the UK market, the short-term trend is down, the underlying trend is down, and our longest term measure of the trend, a confirmed down, is also down. So VectorVest does not advocate buying stocks at this time. The short-term trend turned up for a week, but for the last 2 days, that's been down. So not a great situation. We have a very important number out of the US later on today. I'll speak about that in a second. That's the VectorVest composite of the UK since the COVID sell-off. And for the last, 6 weeks now, plus the UK market has been in a confirmed down. So we had a tremendous run from March 2020 up until the start of the year. And then the market fell through the ice. And apart from a short period we've been down for most of the year, and I'm sure most of your portfolios reflect that. It takes a lot of patience to sit in cash and wait for the opportunity to come. But I think that you should do your best to try and sit on your hands for a few more days at least. This is the US, and the US, the trend turned down after the close yesterday. Again, we had 3 or 4 periods where the short-term trend was up, everything else was down. And again, in the US, VectorVest does not advocate buying stocks at this time. So if we look at the VectorVest composite of the US, this has largely been down since last November. We had one period where it moved up. It was up for about 2 weeks, if that. And since the start of April, this is being down. I've drawn this line here. And as you can see, this market was sold off where this support now became resistance and sold off very aggressively yesterday. Most of the sell-off in the US yesterday happened in the last hour of trading. And the market has been running sideways, as you can see, over the last few days, been sitting doing nothing in a very tight range. And the market waiting for this inflation number today out of the US, the CPI out of the US coming out this afternoon, our time. Clearly inflation in everybody's minds. If inflation comes out significantly higher than expected, then there would be no respite from the Fed putting up interest rates. If it were to actually be seen to be falling or turning, then that would be quite positive for markets, but certainly there was no indication that it was going to be positive in late trading yesterday. So let's just wait for that number. In both the UK and the US, pretty much the only stocks that are moving are oil, gas, and commodities. And this is the top 7 stocks was rated by our master indicator, VST, value, safety, and trend, putting together fundamentals and technicals. And you can see we've got Tongela, which is coal, Gulf Keystone, oil, EGON, oil, South 32 commodities, Talia mining, copper. Now in there we've got Cerillion, which is a small IT company, which really looks interesting. That's in fact bucking the trend there. So that's Tongela, folks, and I have to reveal I am a shareholder here. Undervalued, and now I've been in the share since this little horizontal line here. There's a cup and handle pattern, and I think most VectorVest customers have been in the share for quite a long time. But it's charting a ascending triangle here. It's undervalued. The green line is the value. Blue line is earnings per share. And it's hard to see because of this ramp up. But since April, forecast earnings per share has risen by 50%. That's quite something. So with a decent market, I think that this can break out of this ascending triangle and push much higher. Thought that was going to happen yesterday, but clearly the market didn't support that. So Thungela, wait for a breakout, folks. Wait for it to be safe to buy stocks on VectorVest. This is Cerillion, this small IT company, which trended very strongly, and now it's gone into this consolidation pattern, but in a very weak market, pushing up strongly, pushing up against the tape. And if the general market were to move, then there's a significant upside potential in Cerillion. And I still like Cape Tech. I'm holding Cape Tech. I bought into it at the last touch of support. And clearly I'm sweating a bit as it goes sideways now, but it's back at support. We've got a trend line which has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches or so, undervalued. Earnings per share is rising. It's on a hold recommendation on VectorVest. So two things need to happen for I would be buying into it, or I would advise buying into it. One, it should move to a VectorVest buy recommendation. And two, the front page of VectorVest should say it's safe to buy stocks. And that's my only position in the US. That's a spread bet. It's an Exxon Mobil, and it's been trending up quite nicely. As you can see, the undervalued, growing earnings quite strongly. That's the only share that I've got in the US presently. So folks, a very, very important afternoon for markets. The SPX, the S&P 500, has been in a very tight range all week, waiting for this market. I thought that was going to be the case when I did the VectorVest webcast on Monday afternoon. The only decent trending move that we've had the whole week was in fact yesterday afternoon, where it broke down very strongly indeed. And it's still above the 4,000 level, the S&P 500. But let's await this inflation number this afternoon. The whole financial world is waiting on it. Thanks very much indeed. And be patient. Opportunity will come. But I think stand aside today.